What only exists because people are stupid. When my aunt died, I ended up with my mom and uncle talking to the funeral home advisor. When they were discussing cremation, the funeral advisor made my uncle sign a form that he understands cremation is irreversible. Yup, I had to do that at my dad's. Can't recall with my mom, but she had a viewing before being cremated. But when it comes to funeral stuff, I'm a lot more lenient. Many people going to a funeral home are within a day or so of their relative passing and might not be in the right state of mind. The contract is both protection and a firm reminder to the grieving person, because grieving people might flip-flop in their decisions. I see it as a wake the frick up, it's permanent. Warning. I had the great misfortune of taking my hysterical aunt to the funeral home the morning after she found my uncle, who was 50, passed away. She was a 44-year-old widow. Insisted the whole way there he would be cremated, but when we got in and she started talking to the director, she became hysterical all over again and told him she wanted family to be able to see my uncle and she didn't want him to burn. So there was a viewing. Warnings on microwaves and ovens that the food might be underscore hot afterwards. That is pretty much the purpose of those, to heat the food. To be fair, might be hot is a pretty good way of describing the food that comes out of my shitty ass microwave. It might be hot. It might be frozen. It might have melted through the plate. Buckle up, kiddos, we are going on a culinary adventure. There's a nice little sign above the shredder where I work warning people that documents put through this device will not be recoverable. From a security standpoint, I'm always a bit miffed when people think that a document is destroyed once it's shredded. It's not. Reassembling shredded documents isn't that hard. There are programs out there that can take thousands of scanned images, find all of the pieces, and then match up all of the pieces and re-render the pages. So basically all you have to do is dump the shredded paper onto a scanner and spread them out so they are not overlapping and let the software do the rest. The commercials where they do some crap that's nearly impossible for an actual human to do, but they still have to say, do not try this at home. BC someone's crackhead looking, but is definitely going to try. That warning at the end of every pharma ad. Don't take Repressital if you are allergic to Repressital. Or any of its ingredients. What are the ingredients? 2% Precetilium HCl, 98% fillers. Stupid is probably going a bit far, but there are plenty of products that were massively unpopular because they worked too well and people just didn't get them. The best example I can think of is Febreze, which was designed as a scent eradicator and was, by its very nature, completely odorless. The only problem is that people get used to their own personal brand of stank, so they couldn't tell the difference between their own smelly butt home before and after it was sprayed. They had to put a scent into the product that was designed to get rid of scents, just so people would appreciate it had actually been used, after which it started selling like crazy. That's kinda nice though, because then you know that you're using it correctly, and you can use the scent to gauge whether you've used enough. Like with soap that foams up, I know the bubbles don't do anything, but I like seeing them. Otherwise I wonder if the soap's bad, or if some idiot watered it down or something. Recently started a job that has a massive walk-in freezer. Part of the induction was explaining that you shouldn't lick the frozen metal rollers that the stock was placed on. My reply: we can still lick the regular ones though, right? Totally wrong crowd, haha. The little sticker on the front of vending machines that say not to shake them, as if it falls it will crush you and can cause serious bodily harm up to and including passing away. Multi-level marketing schemes. If you have to pay a company for the privilege to work for them, I have news for you. I tried to persuade someone involved in one of these scams using the following logic. You only make money from people below you in the chain, people you recruit, and the people they recruit. You make no money from lateral growth of the company, people coming in at your level. Assuming that each person in the company only gets 2 people directly below them, then to sustain a pyramid of 21 levels, the company needs to have as many reps as the entire population of the state of Maine. With a pyramid of 33 levels, the entire population of planet Earth. What do you realistically think is the market pool for potential recruits for you, and what level do you imagine you're entering the company at? And that completely ignores the fact that any one person might have as many as 5 recruits directly below them, shrinking your pool astronomically faster. If each person had 4 recruits directly under them, you would exceed the population of Earth at just 16 levels. It did not work to dissuade them at all, but it was worth a shot. My sister-in-law was huge into Mary Kay and tried to recruit my wife multiple times to buy into their beginner sales bullcrap. My wife and I decided not to, and my sister-in-law called my wife unmotivated because she didn't want to pay like $200 for Mac no one buys. Do you know anyone that wears Mary Kay? I know women that spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on Mac every year, and not one of them would touch Mary Kay products with a 10-foot pole. Signs at the supermarkets telling people not to wash their hands in the fish tanks or the tanks of any other sea creatures. This should be an unspoken rule, but because it was unspoken, some stupid ass dildos decided to wash their hands in the damn tanks. Edit. I should not have said any other sea creatures. Obviously, certain tanks will have the tops off, but for eels, lobster, and other select animals, the tops are on. Bags of nuts with a written warning explaining that the product may contain nuts. I have a life-threatening peanut allergy, and even I thought it was ridiculous that a bag of peanuts had to be recalled because they didn't include the warning contains peanuts on it somewhere. Like, it's a bag of peanuts. The entire ingredients list is peanuts. If you have a peanut allergy and buy a bag of peanuts not realizing it contains peanuts, you are a special kind of stupid. Bouncers at bars and clubs. Some bouncers do more than control sloppy drunks though. They actively control who comes into a club, so they can select based on gender, race, dress, etc. I went to a friend's frat party, and they had a hired bouncer. His only direction: let every girl in, but only every 4th male in. And from time to time he'd get directions from inside to not let any males in for like an hour or so, because the dick to pussy ratio wasn't the 15:1 the frats aimed for lol. Betty Crocker once made a cake mix that was add water only, no need for other ingredients, and it came out the most perfect moist cake. People stopped buying it because adding water didn't make them feel like they were baking a cake. Betty Crocker took away ingredients and needed people to add milk and eggs to the mix, so people will buy their cake mix again. However, as Laura Shapiro observed in Something from the Oven, reinventing dinner in 1950s America, while Ditchter's work was influential, its precise role in the success of the cake mix is unclear. For starters, although it may not have been a point articulated by the homemakers Ditchter surveyed, the fact was that fresh eggs produced superior cakes. Using complete mixes which included dried eggs resulted in cakes that stuck to the pan, had poor texture, had a shorter shelf life, and often tasted too strongly of eggs. Chances are, Shapiro wrote, if adding eggs persuaded some women to overcome their aversion to cake mixes, it was at least partly because fresh eggs made for better cakes. Furthermore, the two food companies who came to dominate the cake mix market in this era, General Mills and Pillsbury, adopted opposite approaches. The former chose to go with fresh egg mixes, while Pillsbury opted to offer complete mixes. If the form of eggs used were truly the tipping point that saved the cake mix industry, then sales of one of these companies' products should have tanked in comparison to the others. Warning stickers. Arguably some might be beneficial. However, a lot of them are added on because someone did something stupid, or in fear of doing something stupid a sticker got slapped on. I go to several anime and video game conventions, and I sometimes see very specific rules that make me laugh, because I know there was some incident, and they made a rule about it. Stuff like, no wearing roller skates, while you're also wearing a leash. Costumes may not be on fire. Do not release birds inside the building. Do not try to build a trampoline. Internet scams. Tons of idiots out there. It crosses all genders, ages, races, and education level. But man, if people aren't freaking dumb as a box of rocks. Way too many redditors even come to r/scams asking about scams they either fell for or are about to. It's sad really. I can't imagine how one could ever send a stranger money sight unseen. I don't even part with money to people I know. Can't imagine giving even a penny to strangers. I work with older adults and they are prime target for scammers. I had a lady tell me she got a phone call from a man who said he was from the internet. He wanted to fix her computer for X reason. She didn't believe him and hung up. So far, so good. The $$ actually called back, and because he called back, she thought it was true. Gave him her email password, etc. and ultimately lost her computer. Scams against older adults are more sad and desperate. Continue this thread.